Rabbi say, this week's Parsha is Parsha Toldos, and we start to learn now about Yitzchok, and Yitzchok had children, Eisov and Yaakov, and we find that Eisov had a different relationship with his father than he had with his brother. His father had a good relationship. His brother didn't have such a good relationship. Now, what does this mean spiritually? What was going on over here? Why does Yitzchok have this type of relationship? Why did Yaakov have a different relationship? So we'll start the discussion by first some technical things, different discussions in Rashi, what the meaning of a Rashi is, and this will lead us into something deeper. You see in Parsha saying in the ending of our Parsha it says, "Vayar Eisov," the ending of the sixth Parsha, Eisov saw ki rois benois Canaan bein Yitzchok, that the daughters of Canaan were bad in the eyes of Yitzchok, his father. Vayelach Eisov el Yishmael, Eisov, instead of going to take from the daughters of the land of Canaan, he went to take from family, and he took from Yishmael's family. Ayikach es mochlas bas Yishmael. He took his family. He took the daughter of Yishmael, his cousin, his first cousin. Yishmael was his uncle. It's like his brother. And he took Machlas, the daughter of Yishmael, al Noshav, on his previous wives, which he had, Lo Isha, to be a wife.
Did we ever learn what his kana was? His real kana was?
That's what we're gonna discuss tonight. Mitzvah Hashem, we're gonna get into that. Well, first we'll right away discuss there's a Medrash and a Rashi. So in the Medrash Rabbah, in the Medrash over here, right over here at the ending of the parasha, on this pasuk, the Medrash brings two opinions about what happened over here. What was this marrying of this wife, the daughter of Yishmael, about? Machlas. Rabbi Shua ben Levi Amar, Nosan Daiti Lizgayer, he had in mind to convert, meaning to do tshuva. He wanted to mend his ways. And that's what the name Machlas means. The name Machlas means Shemachala HaKadosh Baruch Hu al Kavinus. Hashem forgave him for all of his sins, all of Eisav's sins. That was what this was about. So that's Rabbi Shua ben Levi's opinion. Amar Rabbi Lazar said, "Ilu haitis v'shaynis yafahoya." If he would have divorced his first wives, the wives that were worshipping idols and offering incense, it says that Yitzchok's eyes became blind from the incense of Esav's wives. So that would be one thing. Then it would show he was doing tshuva. So I don't learn the pshat in the pasuk that way. I learn, it says, "Vayikach es machlas bas Yishmael." He took Machlas, daughter of Yishmael, al Noshav, on his previous wife that he added another one, meaning that the second one, this one was similar to the earlier ones. Al Noshav ke'ev al ke'ev. He added a pain to a pain. The bad ones, the first ones were bad, and the second ones also were.
And no often have as many as they want, is that right?
Al Pi Torah also a Jew also. Al Pi Torah.
Wasn't there?
Only Chedim did Rabbeinu Gershon stop that for Ashkenazim, right? However, the Sfardim never accepted that, and they did marry more than one wife up until recently. Right. So in Ashkenaz, in countries of Germany, Poland, Russia, these countries, England, France, was considered unacceptable in society, and there was and because of different issues, also Rabbeinu Gershon said that this is one of the things that he enacted, that we should only take one wife.
How many years ago was Rabbeinu Gershon?
900 years ago.
Time with the Rambam.
Yeah. So Lamaisa, However, up until now, the custom today by Sfardim is to abide by it as a custom. But Lamaisa, up until recent times, Sfardim, when they were living in their countries, they had more than one wife, right?
Well, one wife you can take care. You want to stick two.
No, you have to be able to support them.
Right. You're also not allowed. You're not allowed to take on a second wife
Unless you can support them.
unless you can fully support them and give full attention to all of them. So it's not so simple. Only someone who had money who could afford a second wife.
Or the Arab, the sheikh, they buy 12 years old, 14 years old, they give the father money and they take care of the girl.
Now, Lamaisa, that's the Medrash. The Medrash brings two opinions. The Shuma Levi said this is a good act. Eisov was trying to do tshuva with the second wives. However, Rebbe Elazar said, if he would have divorced the first wives, it makes sense it was an act of tshuva, but he didn't. So obviously, this is just a continuation of all his issues, and he was continuing with more. Al Piza, based on this Medrash, we have to understand Rashi over here on the pasuk, this pasuk at the ending of the parsha. He explains on the words Al Nashav that he took on his previous wives. Hoisif Risha Alashase. He added a wickedness to his previous wickedness. Risha Alashase. He did not divorce the first ones, which he's following the second opinion, the Medrash of Rebbe Elazar, that this was not a good act.
What was the rishus of taking a Bat Yishmael? No rishus over there.
It seemed to me she wasn't she herself wasn't a good person. She was a bad person. That was the issue with the first wives. It was the first issue with the first wives. So in Hanami she was family, but she wasn't kosher. She wasn't a good person.
I can see it a different way, because it was bad that he took extra woman, ויקח מחלת בת ישמעאל, so he's doing kibud avaim, and he's taking from Ishmael now. He's not taking other women. So he's thinking about his father to make kibud avaim.
She says she's a bad woman.
But she was bad.
Bad.
But
So he's giving respect
we
to
don't
the
see that.
father, he's saying.
I said he's giving respect because we know that Eisov was fighting to bury his father. This is why his head went to Marat HaMachpelah. He was making kibud avaim. Here he knows the father doesn't like this woman that he is married. So he said, you know, Abba, I'm going to marry somebody from our family to make you happy.
Oh, we're going to see soon some more. Let's. I think we should take a little bit of a jump. Let's take a little bit of a jump. We'll go to page 114. The right column, base. It says base. Now, one of the issues that Rebbe points out in this part that we're skipping is that in Parshas Vayishlach, and two Parshas later, it says the family members of Yishmael, the Basmas Bas Yishmael. Basmas Bas Yishmael. Rashi says Basmas. Or earlier we called her in Toldos, we called her Machlas. Now here Basmas. Her real name was Basmas, says Rashi. She was called Machlas because there are three that people that their sins are forgiven. And one of them is someone who gets married, Hanoisi Isha. So Machlas is Moichel. His Averis become Nimchal.
But it's not for Jewish person.
Lamaisa, it seems to be, seems to be like the Shita, the other Shita of Shimon Levi, the first opinion of the Medrash, that marrying Machlas was a good thing for Eisov. It wasn't a negative thing. However, in Pasha Toldos, Rashi clearly says that Al Nashav, that Eisov was adding another wife, just like the earlier ones weren't appropriate. He was adding more. It's a little contradiction. So over here, the Rebbe explains. Kadaikis nira, if you medayik, nira shakushime karalas. You look closely, it seems to be no question. Ki kavanas Rashi beperushi kan eine ke pirush Elazar medrash or pirush chodesh b'divrei Aksav. Even though on the surface, when we read Rashi quickly, it seemed to be that Rashi in Toldos was pointing out, taking the opinion of Belazar in the Medrash, that this was a negative act of Eisov. And therefore we have this contradiction that other Rashi seems to be that this was a good act. There's no, that the Rebbe points out, Rashi's not really following Rebbe Elazar's opinion. And he points out some differences between Rashi and the Medrash. Rashi made some changes, the way the Medrash says it. Lashon HaMedrashi, if he would have, Rebbe Elazar had said, if he would have divorced the first ones, that would have been good. Then we could say, Ella al Nashav, he added on to his wives, Ke'ev al Ke'ev, a pain after a pain. That's what the Met says in the Medrash. But Rashi changed that, because he changed the language and he said, Hoisif Risha al Rishasai. He added wickedness to his the wickedness. Shavegei Shalashainis, he did not divorce his first wife. What's the difference? It seems to be similar things, just paraphrasing it. The Shnei Shinuim Ikin Kan, there are two major differences here.
That's a question.
Yes.
Ben Noach, do they have a mitzvah of Chayil?
It's a good question.
Because it could also be fulfilling Chayil with this, even though it's.
There is an inyan that they should have children. There was one time a Rebbe, he was nifter not long, a few years ago, Sadiger Rebbe. So he came to meet with the Rebbe, and the discussion was discussing about people trying to have families want to have children in Eretz Yisrael, and it's difficult because the government wasn't giving as much funding for people with families. So the Rebbe had urged that he should push that the government should give more funding for people to increase the family size. So he said, what's going to be with the Arabs? The Arabs are also going to get money, the Israeli Arabs, and they're also going to have more children. So the Rebbe said that they also have to have more children. In general, the Rebbe said he doesn't like the Shita, the opinion that if someone else is going to get, so you shouldn't take. So someone else gets, but you need if people need the funding, so you need the funding. But he said anyways that the non-Jewish people also have to have children.
Yeah, but their children going to terrorists. That's a difference.
Ke'ev al Ke'ev. One. Number one. Pirush shehoisiv isha mershas al noshav harishoi shehoisa loy lifneza. When in the Medrash it's clear that Belazar used the terminology Ke'ev al Ke'ev, referring to the women, to the wives. The wives were pain after pain. He took bad women. Rashi does not discuss the women, the wives. Rashi changed it, referring to the act of Eisov. Eisov added a wicked act to his wickedness. Eisov added a wicked act. We're not discussing the women per se. We're discussing something he did was wicked. It doesn't necessarily reflect the women. It doesn't necessarily reflect the women. The act, we'll see soon what was wrong with the act. If the women weren't bad, what was wrong with the act? But the Medrash is clear. Belazar had said Ke'ev al Ke'ev, referring to the women, that his wives that he took were no good. Rashi changed it, and it seems similar, but it's not the same. We're talking about the act, not about the per people. Risha al Rishasi, he added something wicked to his wickedness. The issue of marrying Machlas was something wicked from Eisav's perspective, not because she was wicked. So that brings up that. Let's go to now. We're going to skip here. There's a long brackets. We're going to skip to Beis in the left column, in the middle. It says the letter Beis. Haloshen ilu hoyt the shaynis yafa haya. B'medish b'betchilasim mirashi mahapach haseider v'kas haloshen zebesimin. There's another difference between Rashi and the Medrash. The Medrash, Rabbi Lazar said. Rashi doesn't quote Rabbi Lazar. It doesn't say the name of the town. The Medrash says Rabbi Lazar had said, "Ilu hoyt the shaynis yafa." If you would have removed the first wives, it would have been good. That was the first statement that Belazar said. He retorted back to Bishum and Levi. However, Rashi didn't write that in the beginning. He put at the ending. He said, he added wickedness to his wickedness. And the ending, he says, for he did not divorce the first ones. He changed the order. What is the seeming? Why did he change the order from the Medrash? What's the meaning behind this? Siv Gimel.
Esav was tzarech legarish.
No. If they're bad, we're talking about the Medrash. Belazar said in the Medrash that these were, the first women. It says clearly the Gemara, the Rashi, the Pasuk says
that they were bad.
Right? They were lamoides ruach, or Yitzchok and Rivka caused them much pain. The question: what was this other marriage, the marriage that he does now at the ending of the parasha?
But he has a chiyuv to be megarish the woman.
No, we're not talking about the divorce. The way it is before the Torah was given was different type of divorce.
But for a goy, that's my question.
Yeah, even a ben noyach, he's not allowed to marry an eishes ish. And ben noyach, but the concept of eishes ish by goyim is different. He doesn't. It's not. You don't have to have a kiddushin, but if he's miyached her and treats her like a wife, and brings her into his house, and she's always his wife, then that's considered a wife. Mashenkin, when he sends her out and she leaves the house, no longer the wife.
Yeah, we know that when you find Eshet Yifatwa.
We're just using the word gerish, but it's not halachic gerish.
It's not halachic gerish.
No.
That's my question.
Siv Gimel. Yishloimar, that the Rebbe says we could say that these two changes that Rashi made over the Medrash are dependent to one another. They're connected. The two changes. One change is that the terminology the Medrash says is ke'ev al ke'ev, referring to the wives. The wives were pain after pain. And the second change, and Rashi wrote Risha Rishasei. The second change was that the Medrash starts off saying Ilo Haya Haitzis Rishaynis Hayafa. He removed the earlier ones that have been good, and Rashi moved that to the ending. That's the ending of the points. The Fiham Medrash comes out Harisha Shel Eisov Haitzis Bezesha Nasa Oy Mashas Kev Al Kev. According to the Medrash, the wickedness of Eisov in this marriage was that he added another mashas. Mashas is the feminine form of a wicked woman. Mashakas of Elos Hoitis of Shainis Yafa, Hirak Hagdama, Lohaiti Medas, Shumalevi, Shanasan Daiti, Vizgayer, Shiashalemikain, Kim Hoya, Lilagadish of Shainis. When Rabbi Lazar said, if he would have divorced the first wives, it would have been good. He didn't mean to say that the second ones were not a problem. So therefore, if he would have divorced the first ones, everything would have been good. No, Belazar holds that they all were bad. This is just an introduction. He's trying to point out to Yeshua Levi. You're telling me he wants the tshuva. He took machlas. You said you learned machlas means Michael Avainis. You can't learn that way. Maybe you could say such a pshat. And therefore, Belazar they're all wicked. They're all wicked. That was just an introduction proving that you can't learn that he suddenly became a Baal Tshuva. That wasn't what he had in mind. Rashi. According to Rashi's opinion, Rashi is learning in Pshat, in the Pasuk, that Malchus was not a wicked woman. She wasn't bad. Rashi switched the order and he changed the language. He added a wickedness to his wickedness. What was the wickedness to his wickedness? Machos wasn't the issue. The issue was that he did not divorce the first ones. Rashi put that at the ending, not divorcing the first ones. That is what was wicked, not the second marriage. Bishua ben Levi, that Belazar held in the Medrash that both marriages were an issue. According to Rashi, the second marriage wasn't an issue. The issue was he did not divorce the first ones.
Who said he has to divorce her?
But they were bad. They were bad women. Yeah. But how does the second act? Now, we don't not understand. So why is this? If not divorcing the first women, that was an issue all along. Why do we see, if Machlas was, according to Rashi, the way that Rebbe is explaining now at this point, that she was a good person, she wasn't a bad person. So then so why are we bringing up now that Eisov's act was Risha Rishasai? The second act was good. The second act was good. He wanted to marry a kosher lady. So why are we now bringing up that Hoisiv Risha Rishasai? Shalei Shani that he had Rishonis, he had earlier wives. Yeah, they were bad, okay. But now he's doing a good thing. He wants to marry a good woman. What's the issue? We have to understand that. Omochrach, he points out that's going to be explained in Siv Dalet. Before that, he brings out another point to bring out that Machlas wasn't a bad person. Not only from the fact that from different diyukim points that we see from Rashi, seems to be Rashi's learning differently than the Medrash, but also in the general content. Why did Eisov go marry Machlas? Why did he go marry her? He wanted to make a nachas ruach for his father.
Yeah.
He wanted to make her. So obviously he was trying to do a good act. So in Pshat, it seems to be differently than the Medrash. And therefore Rashi wanted to learn that Machlas was a good person. Sheikol hatam, entire reason shenasa. Eisov is basi shmal. Lefi sherak yiras benois kanam and Yitzchok. He saw clearly in the pasuk. It's a clear pasuk. He saw that the daughters of Canaan were bad in the eyes of his father. He wanted to make his father be happy. He wanted to get a woman that came from the house of his father's household, his grandfather and a cousin, and he married Machlas. Let's skip the brackets. It's probably he's trying out to do something good. Clear in the pasuk. Not like the first women that were caused a lot of pain and agos nefesh to Yitzchok. So, aside from the different wording in Rashi, and both from the general content of the pasuk, it seems to be that pshat of the pasuk, Malchus was a good person, and therefore Rashi did not learn like the Medrash. He definitely didn't learn like Yeshua Levi that he was trying to. The whole thing was a good act because Rashi says it was Risha Rishasai. He didn't learn like Rabbi Lazar, who said that it was Ke'ev al Ke'ev. The second marriage was like the first marriage, that the women were bad women. She's the Isha Mershas Machlas. Rashi's learning differently. Rashi's saying she was a good person, and Eisov wanted to. And it makes sense she was a good person because Eisov wanted to do this in order to make his father happy. He had this Ian and Kibbutz he wanted to make his father happy. Still in all, Rashi's terming this act Risha Arishase. What was the Rishas? He was taking Machos, a good woman. What's the issue over here? This fits by with the Rashi later in Pashas Vayishlach. It says Basmas Yishmol. Really, her name is Basmas. She's called Basmas in Pashas Vayishlach. Why was she called Machlas in our parsha? Because when Asa married her, it was Nimchal Abein Eisov. How does that fit? Because she was a good woman. She was a good woman. Why does Rashi say Risha Rishasei? That we're going to see now in Sifdalit. Adayin Srichim Advarim Tumbir, page 115, Sifdalit. Eicha Shaloimer Shirishasi Bekach Shalegere Shishainis. The Maza Shaykh V'yikach is Machas. What? How could we say that there was a rishus over here, that he did not divorce the first ones? Of course, he did something wrong then. But now we're dealing with a good act. He went to go marry Machlas. Why do we have to mention that this act is wicked because he didn't divorce the earlier ones? Okay? He had something bad about him. He didn't divorce the earlier ones. But now he's doing something good. Since he married them, there was such a rishus. What is now the idea of bringing up that this marriage is somehow an added wickedness? We can say a simple explanation for this. The issue over here wasn't machlas. It was that Eisov had it's the pasuk says in the ending of this parasha, Eisov ben Arbayim Shana. Eisov, when he became 40 years old, he decided he's going to go and marry Machlas. Rashi explains. We're all going with the sheet of Rashi here, so we have to follow through with all the Rashis. Rashi says, Eisov hayanim shel chazir. Eisov was compared to a chazir. HaChazer zeh kushu shoichev, when he lays down, poishet lafav, and he sticks out his hooves. Loimer, look, ru'u shanitar, see that I'm pure. Kach, so to elu goizlim b'choimsim, homayim atzim kshedim. These people, they steal and they rob and they make believe like they're kosher. Kol mem shana, entire 40 years of his life, Eisov hayitzad nashim. Eisov would take women away from their husbands. When he was 40 years old, Amar, he said, Abba mem shana, my father was 40, nasi, she married Rivka. Hafaniki, and also I too.
Compare himself to his father.
Here's the key. Zeo gam kishoy merakos of Rashi v'sev yikachas malchas al noshav ha'yisirisha al shas ha'jaged shemitz. Rashi's pointing out, yes, Machlas was a good woman, but what was Eisav's kavana while he married her? What was his intent? Kishem shenisu v'rishonim ha'yumaisav tzvius. Just like his first marriage was first marriage was not appropriate. Kach gam nesui machlas hoisiv rishus mein v'shasa kedem. Shalakach ichsheda rak rishiyomer Yitzchok shechoize b'tshuva. But b'shah shalei hoizel tzvi shalei gilas v'shoynes. Kem nesui shaksheda ba b'shah shashar nashav in kshedes moirish and Elohim tzvius rishus. Eisov a year Taka took machlas. She was an appropriate wife. She wasn't bad. But his whole kavanah was to fool. To fool his wife, his father.
Father and mother.
It's to fool his father and mother. To make believe like he's a tzaddik. To make believe he's a good person. So over here, the Medrash of Elazar had learned that the actual women that were themselves were bad. And actually saying it wasn't the women that were bad, it was the act behind it, why he did it. Eisov had a life of tzviut. He was trying to make believe. Like the Chazer, that's how Rashi in the Medrash explained Esav's personality. He was busy trying to fool everyone. He would be, he's the biggest tzaddik around, and meanwhile he was the biggest Rasha. And this is all part of that. All part of that game. Look, I could even marry a kosher woman. But the whole point was just to create this whole image of himself as being this good person. In reality, yes, this woman herself wasn't an issue. But he was trying this act to paint over himself, not trying to do tshuva, like a cover-up. A cover-up, and not only a cover-up, but actually to proclaim, Tahirani, look who I am, look how special I am, I'm kosher, with this marriage. That's why it was a Risha, it was Risha al Shasei.
So Yitzchak and Rivka did not.
And how do we see it was Risha al Shasei? How do we know this act is Risha al Shasei? Maybe it was a good act. Shalei Geidish is an Ishainis, Rashi finishes off. He never divorced the first wives. If Esav was interested in Taka, tired, Taka becoming a good person, and he was looking to marry women that were appropriate, he should have sent away the first ones and kept this one. Then Taka is a real act of tshuva. But the fact that he kept the earlier ones shows that even though this one is kosher, she's Taka kosher. But this tells us that the act itself of marriage, this marriage that he had with her, was for the wrong reasons. Haraya, he's still with the first ones. So he didn't do tshuva. This just shows us that it was a game. It was a spiel.
Yeah, but the question is, so 40 years his parents didn't see that he's said that he take women and play with them and throw them. The son is big. So what are you trying to show him? I don't understand.
A good question.
Yitzchak and Rivka didn't see all these years what he's doing?
Certain different tzaddikim have different avodah. Even Avram Avinu, Hashem told him that you're going to have Yitzchok, he said, Lu Yishma Yichel Fanecha. Some tzaddikim, they have an opinion that they want to bring up even bad people. Even bring out something out of Eisov. Rivka I have this as Yaakov, but Yitzchok had an avodah. We'll see it a little bit later on. He wanted to refine Eisov. Let's just read the brackets over here. Lefiza, according to this explanation, Hatevis al Nosha Shabakasav, the words in the pasuk, he took machas al Noshav on his previous woman, is not to say that they were both the same, that the second wives were the same as the first wives. No. Elotayis Rishas Shel Eisov, just trying to bring out that the wickedness of Eisov, that it was the same. The wickedness of Eisov stayed the same, but the women were different. Taka. It was different women in the first marriage. Now, up until now, that's where the Rebbe is learning Pshat in Rashi, Al Torah, and Rashi deferred from the Medrash, learned differently, and this is how Rashi understood the story over here with Bachlas. Now, what is the lesson from this whole story? Me'ayena shel Torah and Sifhei, the Pirush Rashi, from the wine of Torah. What's the deeper lesson from this? Sipuri HaTorah b'chal, the lessons in Torah in general. Einim Sipur ba'amach Hashem, they're not stam storybook. It's not a storybook, the Torah. It's not a storybook.
Didn't speak about that today?
Right? El beglal ha'irois be'avedis Hashem. There are deep lessons that we learn out in our Avodas Hashem from the Torah. The Kol Shekem HaChabachoyim Sipuri Toldos Eisov. For sure, when the Torah talks about Eisov, there's meaning to it. Why? Shelahayu Tzvunim Tmunim Mechashuvim Lefarash Eisov B'Torah. In the beginning of Parashas Vayeshev, Rashi explains that the Torah did not dwell on the family of Eisov. Just went through it quickly. This Aluf Eisov, this family, and they went through the families very quickly. Torah doesn't want to dwell on Eisov. We don't have much to tell you about Eisov. We're moving on to Yaakov. So obviously, if we do dwell on certain aspects of Eisov's life, and we do talk about it, because it's something for us to learn, not what to do, but what not to do. And we then move on the left column, page 116. And we then move on Gami Yaninu. So this story about the marriage of Eisov with Machlas, the daughter of Yishmael, is relevant in our Avodah as Jewish people. There's something to be learned out about here about the show, the tzviyut, the trickery of being the wickedness of Eisov. This was Eisov's trait. The Yuv is that we understand this more. What is the lesson from this? The hektim achilok haklolim and Toldos Eisov sheparshas Toldos le'ilu sheparshas Yishlach. We'll find that in this week's parsha Toldos and Parshas Vayishlach, over here in our parsha, we discuss mainly Eisov acts, how they relate to Yitzchok, his father. Elo Toldos Yitzchok is the name of the parsha, the children of Yitzchok. Parshas Vayishlach, the stories of Eisov, Yishlach Eisov Malachim, Yishlach Malachim to Eisov, the whole story is Eisov's relationship with Yaakov. And what's the difference between the two in the relationship? Hevdel Ikri b'neihem. B'negei Yitzchok, when it came to Yitzchok, Eisov worked very hard to convince his father that he was a tzaddik. Like Rashi explains, Kitzayid befiv on the pasuk, Kitzayid befiv, that he was trying to convince his father. He would capture his father with his befiv, with his mouth, deceive his father. V'ilu klapa Yaakov achiv halav b'chama gluya. When it came to his brother Yaakov, he was clear. It was clear evil. He wasn't hiding it. He didn't try to portray himself to Yaakov. He went all out. He said, I'm going to come and kill you. I'm telling you who I am. We have to know that every person we deal with, we struggle with two types of evils. There's ra goli, there's open evil, clear, we see clearly it's bad. And then there's what's called ra nelam. It's not ra goli, it's ra nelam, it's concealed evil.
It's worse.
Hamechusa or tamul matay, which is hidden over with good. Ukashem shtelach lami b'chol hatoykif neged ra hagoli. She'efshel it is by kach v'yesek in tzalazoyim v'terevis teverah ra nelam v'adrabe hamachama neged ra zeh kasha yosef. Just like you have to stand against open evil, which you can't make a mistake about it. It's very clear. You see clearly it's bad. Bad is bad. Even more so, one needs to stand clearly on guard for a mixture of good and bad. When there's a mixture of good and bad, that's because it's very difficult.
They use trickery.
Right? And you see, it's not clear to you. Some people think, oh, what's wrong? This is good. It's a good person, a good act. And they have to be able to weed through it and see what it is over here. And this is much more difficult. This battle is much more difficult. It's not clear. Things are not clear, leaves room for confusion.
So is that to teach
and you can
us,
trick you.
Is that to teach us for the future? How we should be aware?
Yeah. Al derech, this is similar, by the way, we find, very interesting, by Yaakov himself. Yaakov, this is we said, but in Yitzchok, it was Yitzchok, the relationship between Eisov had to Yitzchok was ra nelam, was hidden evil, tricking, coding it with good, asking all these questions like he's a tzaddik and this, covering up. With Yaakov, it was open evil. It says that ever we find be'emes that Yaakov himself battled those two, but it wasn't both in Eisov. Eisov, his relationship with Yaakov and Eisov was ra goli, clear that, but the relationship with Lavan was Ramoy, trickery. Lavan Haramoy. Lavan was always tricking him. That relationship of deceiving that he had with Lavan. Like we find by Yaakov himself. He stayed by Lavan 20 years. He stayed in Lavan's household. The Yosem Eisov, but being with Eisov on the way back, when he met Eisov, there was only one day the struggle. Top of page 117. Eisov went back. Yaakov said, I don't need your help, and Eisov went back. And before Bezeh, this explains, there's a mimer from the Alter Rebbe which explains what was the idea behind that 20 years he had to battle with Lavan and handle Lavan, but Eisov was one day. What was this about? Ki Lavan harami in yonei genevas das v'ramois. Lavan, he represented deceivery, cheating. To deal with this, it takes a long time. To deal with a person that deceives you and he's tricking you, that takes a long time. Eisov went clearly. He said who he is clearly. He didn't play games. He said who he is. Since he said who he was clearly, Yaakov was able to deal with that much quicker. In one day he was able to deal with that. To handle Lavan, that's already a deep klippa. That's a deep ra. That took him 20 years. Yaakov had to hang around over there to get out from the grips of Lavan.
But he has a reason for Lavan to stay there for 20 years. To get married with Rachel.
Right, that's pshat. That's pshat. But in the deeper sense, the ruchniut, he had an avodah there. It wasn't just technical. He was there because that's what he's neshama needed to deal with this person. He changed his. He said, "Yeah, I want to help you, my family. She'ach atzmi b'sariyat. I'm going to take care of you and playing games."
Such a lie.
Yishloimar. Interesting. Now that Rebbe points out, so Lavan also had this deceiving nature, but Eisav's relationship with Yaakov was not deceiving, only with his father Yitzchok. Points out the Rebbe that the Etzem, Eisav's deceiving of Yitzchok was deeper klipa than Lavan's trying to deceive Yaakov. There was something worse about it. Eisov's deceivery. Ishloime sharamois vatziyut shel Eisov klapa Yitzchok he pchusa v'gerua yoisim emerosh Lavan klapa Yaakov. What was worse about it? The hine ba'alamas rabba toiv, when the bad is hidden in the good, there's two ways. Bezefanim. Aleph, ayidei halamas rakiv yashari. One way is you hide the bad as much as possible. Base two. Second way, al yidei hadgashes business, through stressing and advertising how good you are. One way is working just hard to hide the bad, and the other hand is not just hide the bad. Show how good you are. Try to show how good you are and special you are, which wasn't true. That's the difference between Lavan and Eisov. Lavan just held back. He hid back his machshava, his bad intentions to Yaakov. He hid it from him. But Lavan didn't make himself a tzaddik. Lavan didn't claim he was a tzaddik. Lavan just hid his intentions from Yaakov. He hid his bad intentions. He didn't tell him. He tricked him. Eisov is snai kachazer hazeh, Rashi brings from the Medrash. Eisov was acting like a chazer. Shepei tlav olemer shani tar. Eisov doesn't just hide the bad. He's machriz and he announces, Ani tar. I'm a pure person. I'm not just hiding what my intentions. I'm not just neutral. I'm a tzaddik. I'm a tar. He hides the fact that he has the simin tamei, the chazer. Ela oisa maisa lefarsim kashrusei v'havei de levara moizu kosher haibe yoisib de moistam. To deal with such type of trickery, this type of Eisov is even harder than Lavan. So we have here three levels. Two levels, which are three. In general, there is dealing with Ra Goli, open, clear evil. We clear it, we smell it, it looks like it, we know what it is right away, everyone recognizes it. That's a clear klippa. And then there is Ra Nelam, something which is a mixture. It's a mixture of good and bad, and it's not clear. And it comes in through the back door. Comes into the back door of the house. Then there is, in the Ra Nelam itself, there's two ways. One is like Lavan, he just hides his intentions, but doesn't make an effort to claim he's a tzaddik and a tar. And then there is the second level of Ra Nelam, the deeper level, where it's so hidden, where Eisov is constantly portraying himself that he's a tar and a tzaddik, and that's much, much harder to deal with a guy who walks around claiming he's a big tzaddik and he's a big Yireh Shamayim. And how are we going to feel him out and tell people and figure out for yourself what it's really about? It's a lot more difficult.
I have a question that is going out a little bit from this subject. With Lavan and Betuel, when Eliezer came and they said, we have to ask the Na'ara Rivka. In the next pasuk it said, Lavan said, let's go ask the girl. And Rashi said, where is Betuel? Lavan jumped before him because Betuel wanted to push Rivka out, not to let her get married, to take time. Malach came, Malach Gabriel, and killed him. My question is, Rivka did not see Shiva? Because the next day, she went with Elazar already, with Eliezer, she went to marry the
Good kasha. We have to look in the Mepharshim, and then I'm always bothered that the kasha. So what happened? He just died, and it's still going on to the marriage.
The next day, she's going out.
I know, but someone just died in the family.
He died last night, and tomorrow she's going with him.
We have to look at the pshat. Okay, let's get back over here. So, Yishloimar shezeu gamatam shatoyrim mesaperes. This is indeed the reason why the Torah told us about the story of Eisov. It wasn't just a story to tell us nice stories. There's a lot more stories that Eisov did in his life. You're gonna have a whole few books to tell you about all his life story, right? Biography. This story was told us here to bring out how far Eisov went with his tzviut, with his deceivery, to show he's a tzaddik. That he went so far that he actually married a woman that was good. He married machlas. He married a good woman. He went ad kidei kach. He was so into this act of playing the game, of covering it up. שבזה מגלה לנו הכוסות כמה צביעוסי של עשיו. שהלך הזה באיפה של הויסה ברישה על ישסי, פשיטס תלפו. Hoysa acted, he stuck out his hoof so much to the point. Lokach Isha Ksheida Bems, he indeed took a kosher woman. At the same moment he stayed Eisov Rasha. Shakol Rishase Akademo, his Sodom in a Kal, Gida Sheni did not divorce the first wives. He remained exactly the same what he was before. And even though he was exactly the same as he was before, he did not divorce the first ones. He was the same Eisov. Still in all, he went to the point to go and marry a woman to cover it all up that he's a kosher person.
But his sins are still forgiven because he married him?
That's a good kasha.
Why his head went to Marat HaMachpelah? He met Shuvah, according to some fashion. The Kibbutz Avraham was fighting for his father.
The Rebbe learns in a Ha'ara, the Rebbe explains that Saf Kol Saf, in the ending of the day, there was a good part of it, right? He did marry a kosher woman.
Was he good to her?
So he had in mind this whole thing, but still in all that act that he did, that she was kosher, you have to get rewarded for that. For that aspect. So
See, he does a little bit good, and he get big good.
and by the way, very interesting, very nice verb. B'chlal, we know the Medrash explains that machlas, right? Then Rashi brings it in Parashat Vayishlach that her name was Basmas. Machlas was a shenimchol, that someone who marries a chassan, all his aveiros are forgiven on the day of the chuppah. Why is this hinted out to Eisov? Is the Torah to tell us this by the marriage of Eisov? You couldn't find a better opportunity in the Torah to teach us this lesson. The Hanoisi Isha. Elamai, says the Rebbe, even when the marriage was all with his kavana of Eisav's kavana, but since B'Poyel, he married a kosher woman, so even in such a case, you're zeiche to the mechila of the Avonis. Upon the old Avonis.
He got clean. He got cleaned at the end. He's saying.
In the end, he got
He got clean, got
the
tshuva. It was a real tshuva.
You know what?
From here we have to learn the lesson that sometimes it could be the Yetzer Hara will agree that you should do good things. That doesn't mean that suddenly things changed. Sometimes the good things are part of the act. He's doing mitzvahs, but it's part of the act of the cover-up. So you have to, the Yetzer Hara could come in.
Was he still bad?
The Chazal tell us Hayoim, the Yetzer Hara Hayoim Oimalei Asei Kach. Today he tells you to do this. Machar Oimalei Asei Kach, and tomorrow he tells you to do this. Ad Oimalei Chavei Davei Zara tells you to go do Davei Zara. So the Frierdiker Rebbe explained Hayoim Oimalei Asei Kach. He doesn't tell you to do an Aveda the Yetzer Hara. Hayoim Oimalei Asei Kach. Now he tells you do like you're doing, do mitzvahs, do Torah. But you listen to him. Yetzer Hara tells you to do it. You should do it, it's good. And then, okay, you listen to Yetzer Hara, you do the mitzvah. Now you're listening to him now. Soon you're going to listen to him do other things.
You get caught.
Yeah, get caught in.
You know,
You gotta be careful.
So how do you differentiate
Very tricky.
who's telling you what to do?
thousands of years.
How do you know it's the Yetzer
It
Hara?
requires a lot of pikchus.
The big show.
It requires a lot of pikchus.
We assume you do something good, that's the Yetzer Hara. Why would you have a arena? You're assuming if you do something good, you assume it's the Yetzer Hara telling you. Why would you even have Avim the Yetzer Hara telling you to do good?
You have to look what the kavanah, to think what the kavanah is. You know, why is he? If you see he's telling you, you have to see the good words leading you. Listen, some things we do la'olam yeh adam oisik b'toyra shaloi l'shma. Ad shaloi l'shma bal l'shma.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, certain levels of it we allow. L'mashal, you're not supposed to, if someone learns Torah, certain levels of shalei l'shma. When someone learns Torah, let's say, I'm an asl kanter, in order that he wants the dafka learn Torah in order to shlug up Torah and to talk against Torah. He wants to Torah. You're not supposed to learn Torah. Different level. When it's a subtle shalei l'shma, well, it's one thing. It comes deeper.
Well, the problem really is that the person thinks he's doing a mitzvah sometimes. He gets, so he tells you this is a mitzvah, and really it's not a mitzvah. That's where the problem.
There were people in different times.
Avi Nachal talks about this. He has three answers. One answer is that the Yetzer Hara fights harder than the Yetzer Torah. It doesn't work that way. The second answer is if you see the same thing on another person, you won't be done with kafsh if you see on another person. And the third answer is if you do part of that, like David HaMelech, he cut the kanaf of the beggar of Shaul HaMelech and he felt bad. So you realize he made a mistake. You do a little bit of the beggar, you can figure out. There's three answers.
Okay.
Each one has a mile for some.
We're going to the Kelos HaShluchim.
Well, we got to have a made. That's why this Golus, the Golus of Eisov, is the longest Golus of Eisov, because dealing with Eisov is the most difficult issue. In this Golus, it's not very clear a lot of times as to what is Ra
Not clear, sure.
and what's
People
Toiv.
confused, sure, definitely.
So this is the hardest bitter.
Yeah.
The hardest bitter is realizing it. There's a certain mila when something is clear.